listening to the Flickcast, a podcast about stuff nerds love. I am Chris Ulrich, and joining me, of course, Joe Dilworth. Hello, Joe. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm also kind of hungry now. We did some
Yeah.
some pre-funk talk and got into some pretty specifics about food, and it's just kind of left me hungry. So
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to touch on that again because nerds love food. I know they do.
they
So,
do. They like to eat and
I
to
like
eat
to
good
eat.
food.
Yeah,
So,
and I've been cooking more, so that's fun. But
there we go.
But today we're going to talk about more things from Comic Con and maybe touch on some Thor: Love and Thunder because I finally got a chance to see that, and maybe if we have a time to talk about For All Mankind for a minute, and of course
Yes.
picks and
Yes.
all that. But I think we should jump. I think we should journey back to San Diego. And, yeah, there you go. Exactly. I was going to do that, but I didn't.
I did.
You did, yeah. That's hopefully people get that. I'm sure they do. We could talk about some Marvel stuff and other announcements too, but mostly Marvel. Marvel ended up, knocking out a lot of stuff.
Wow. Way more than I thought.
Which is more than we thought. But we did end up sort of somewhat saying a few things, especially. Well, let's just jump right into it. Back in sunny San Diego, we did mention a new Daredevil show, and it turns out there's going to be a new Daredevil show with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, which is very exciting. 18
Yes.
episodes. That's a lot.
Whoa, that's a lot. But
It is. I'm wondering
good.
if it's going to be like a jumping off point for other things. I mean, I know they're bringing back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio because they specifically said that. But I wonder if it will be still into a Defenders thing or if it's going to be just those two characters. If it is, that's great because I'm excited. But also,
Oh yeah.
Daredevil appears in the She-Hulk trailer that debuted too as
Yes.
well. So they're all going all in on Charlie Cox and Daredevil, which I'm totally down with.
He's going to be in the Echo series, which is a spinoff from Hawkeye. He's going to be in She-Hulk, and he's also voicing Daredevil in the Spider-Man animated series that's coming up. So
It's one
Yeah.
thing, it's one of those things where like fan casting or like, where fans got their wish in a way. Cause I think a lot of people, myself included, I'm sure you were too, were like rooting for that whole thing to happen because he was
Yes.
so good as Daredevil to give him a chance to join the MCU. And the fact that it's happening is terrific. And of course, Vince D'Onofrio, a fantastic actor as the Kingpin, always a delight to see him and also terrifying sometimes. But that's good. But yeah, it's a wonderful thing that good things can happen. And as someone pointed out, without any without any bots or any kind of bullshit like the Snyder Cut, people being dicks. It was like everyone was being relatively polite about the Charlie Cox.
nobody slagged off anything else. They were just
Yeah.
like, we would really like to see this.
Yeah,
Please
and
make it
it's,
happen.
And it's like with Krasinski playing Reed Richards. Oh, I saw something that said that, or the costume designer for, this is a total non sequitur, of course, but
Yeah.
for Doctor Strange was talking about how his suit was total CGI.
And so is Black Bolt.
And so was Black Bolt, yeah, because they didn't want to spend the money designing a suit for him, I guess, because he's
Right.
that to me leads me to believe that he will not be Reed Richards later on
Exactly.
because they didn't bother designing a costume, and neither will, of course, I don't think Black Bolt will come back either. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting bit of trivia because it kind of his head. I mean, it did look odd to me at some point. The angles were kind of weird, so and you can see that. However, I'm pleased to see that the CG for She-Hulk seems to have been improved, so that's nice.
Yes, the latest trailer I thought was really great. Just to step back to Daredevil real quick, though.
Yes, yeah, definitely, please.
It is. I think it's what's almost as cool as fans lobbying and this coming back and being a reality is that I would say, and I know the cynical side is like, well, there's contracts and stuff like that, but I think it's obvious that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio really enjoy playing these characters because they're not just signing up, well, yeah, we'll do another season of a show. They're like appearing in multiple places. And I know Marvel is famous for multi-year and multi-project contracts, but if you didn't really enjoy playing the character, it doesn't seem like you would sign up for everything they already have coming up. Otherwise, it seems like they would be like, we had our spin. It was a good time. I wouldn't mind making a cameo, but I think that's a lot. So I think it says something about how much they enjoy it. Chris Hemsworth and some of the other actors that are playing their characters long term too have mentioned that. It's like we really enjoy playing these characters and working in this model. So, and I'm sure they're getting paid pretty decently. But again, I think it's more than cynicism as far as money and contracts. I think they're like, that sounds great. Let's do this. So
Yeah, I get that feeling from both of them. But I mean, I'm sure that partially they're both professional working actors, and they know, hey, a long term deal is pretty good. I'm
Sure.
not saying that's not the main factor, because actors like to work. I don't know that D'Onofrio is like struggling for money, and I don't know if Charlie Cox
No.
is either. But I think you're right, and they've both said how much they enjoyed playing, and they enjoyed working with each other too in the
Right.
show.
Right.
So in a way, I'm sure it's good because they did that whole Netflix series and got into these characters and really enjoyed working together and working on this. And now they have an opportunity to do it more. It's not forever. I mean,
No.
they
No.
they can do this for 5 years or whatever, and still have thriving careers and do other things. I'm sure Vince D'Onofrio likes to direct now, so maybe he's looking at this as more of like, oh, now I can direct stuff and not have to worry about acting so much, because
Yeah.
I've got this thing going on, and I can do my poetry or whatever. And but again, they've also picked the right people because
Yes. Yes.
they were really good in those roles. I just said cause, not because. Wow,
Cause. Yeah.
because they're so good, and it's a great situation where sort of fan casting, fan wishes were fulfilled, but it's also a really good fit for the characters and for the show to have these guys come back. So
Yeah.
I would like to see Jessica Jones again. I'd like to see Kristen Ritter come back. I like to see them all come back. You know, I'd even give Finn what's his face another chance just to
Yeah,
why
I
not?
think
Why not?
yeah, I would be up for that. I mean, I agree with you. I hope they incorporate a lot of defenders. They could.
Well, 18 episodes is a lot, so I think they could. I don't think they'll bring back Punisher necessarily.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, man. Not on Disney
because they're
Plus.
bringing
Although,
back, they're bringing Deadpool into the MCU.
well, Deadpool and Logan are both on Disney Plus
Yep.
now. So it's
So-
like I watched Logan just because it was on Disney Plus because I wanted to see the Disney logo and go, I'm going to watch this hard R movie where
yes,
fuck you, Disney. No, I'm just kidding. But it was weird to go through the Disney Plus menu and see Daredevil. I'm not Daredevil, but, well, Daredevil too, but Deadpool and Logan and some other stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is, of course now it's like Disney's ruined for everybody, I'm sure. But
of course, yeah, it's horrible. So
just don't opt in for the R-rated shit. It's really easy. You just don't click the box. I
don't
know
watch it.
Well, no, not just that, but you have to authorize it on your
Right.
thing. And
So
if you
then
don't
don't.
authorize it, it doesn't show up. So it's like it's super easy,
right.
to not have it available. But anyway.
No. It's much easier to complain and trying to ruin it for everybody.
Sure, it is. It's much easier to do that. But of course, we can't forget about, and I'm not crying. You were crying, but the
Man.
Wakanda, yeah, that's some heavy shit. The Wakanda Forever trailer was amazing, and
All the feels.
yeah, I mean, people joke about that, but it was really. And I never met Chadwick Boseman, and I never, or anything like that. But he was terrific as T'Challa. I think he was terrific in that movie, and other things too. But to go so young and not have a chance to keep going, and just
Yeah.
it was hard, and you could see that there was real emotion during the panel, and people were, Coogler was very, he was choked up. You could see that, and some of the other cast especially.
Yeah.
But this seems like a great way. I mean, from what you can tell from a trailer, a great way to move forward with the franchise and still honor Chadwick Boseman. But I guess the real question is, whose butt do you think that was at the end?
I don't know. That's
What the internet's buzzing. Whose butt is that? So.
That's the million vibranium question.
Oh, I like what you did there. I mean, at first I was like, "Oh, that's not Shuri. I don't think it's the other person." Oh, God, I'm going to forget names now. But
Okoye?
now, no, it's now I kind of think it might be Killmonger.
Yeah, I've heard there's obviously rumors that in some way they're bringing Killmonger back,
Yeah,
and I think that would be a cool redemption story. And I say redemption because he wasn't really wrong. He just kind of didn't go about it the right way.
well,
So-
his methods were unsound, maybe, and he
Yeah.
learned his lesson.
But he wasn't wrong in really what he was trying to achieve, honestly. I mean, it was
Right.
like, well,
Right.
okay, I get his point. And so,
Yeah.
and those are the best villains, are the ones that are like, oh, I can relate. It's just that you're going about it the wrong way. Killing people and annihilating nations and stuff like that. Maybe you don't do that when you're trying to get your point across. But maybe. I mean, like as he pointed out, he was kind of driven to that. He didn't have, it's the only way he saw forward to make his point. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I get it. Even in the movie, they were like, dude, we're with you, but not this way. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The character I was trying to remember was Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of thought it was her because that's a lot of other people were saying, oh, because they analyze. There's a lot of butt analysis going on.
There is.
On the internet. It's like, oh, here's her and another thing. It's like, yeah, kind of, maybe. I guess. That was kind of my thought from the beginning.
Yeah, no, that would be cool.
But I don't think it's Letitia Wright. Maybe it is, but it could be. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But that moment in the trailer seems to be, and I love the fact that they're doing the whole Namor thing and they're bringing it in some manner, and they're like flooding Wakanda. I mean, that's a great comic arc. I really like that a lot. But seeing the baby Namor get born, and people sometimes forget that Namor is like technically the first mutant, right? So
exactly. So
it's yeah. Of course, now with Miss Marvel, they said they
she's a mutant.
They finally used the word mutant. Spoilers in the finale of Miss Marvel. So it's coming. X-Men is coming, man, and all that stuff. But it's just this whole trailer was terrific, and the guy they have playing Namor is terrific, and
it just looks.
It looks awesome. Yeah, it looks as great as it possibly could look. So
yeah, and I have every confidence that the movie is going to deliver, and I'm really really looking forward. But yeah, I agree with you. Watching that trailer, I'm like, man, that just kind of wrecked me for a little bit. I'm just like, I think I like the fact that they're continuing it. They're not recasting.
Yeah.
And their purpose for continuing, I know people will be cynical and say, well, of course they're going to continue it. But it feels like the people making it, it's like, we want to do another one to honor Chadwick. Right. And I'm all for that. And I think it's just going to be amazing. I'm definitely going to the theater to see it when it opens.
Yeah.
So even if I have to wear a hazmat suit, but
someone will end up being Black Panther at the end of this movie, though.
Yes.
Whoever it will be, whether it's Shuri or whether it's a resurrected, Killmonger or whatever. Because I mean, in theory, he would be the correct sort of descendant, I guess, who would take on the mantle. But bringing him back to life would be. But it's comics, I guess you can do pretty much anything. But they have sort of established, like, especially in various shows now with like the afterlife and whatever, and the different realms and like avatars of people who are beyond and from different gods and whatever. I mean, you could do a lot of things, and I have full confidence that Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige are very smart people, and so there's going to be something. It'll be explained in a good way, and like you said, a way to honor what happened in the past and a way to move forward. It looks awesome. So I'm very happy about it.
And that will end. I think that's the movie that ends Phase 4.
Yeah, it's just crazy. There's so many phases. There's like fuck ton of movies coming up.
It's just funny. I like people making the comparisons that DC's like, well, here's Black Adam and I guess some Shazam footage. So thanks for coming to Comic-Con. And Marvel's like, you better get a lunch and sit back because
strap in.
And they're just like,
here's the next 10 years of Marvel movies.
Yeah, exactly,
including two Avengers titles, which I thought was interesting.
I know that kind of was shocking and came out of the blue.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they had Ant-Man and the Wasp there, and that's going to be cool. And I love the fact that there's a Thunderbolts movie and two multiverse Avengers movies and Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, and it's like,
well, and these all 4, 5, and 6 phases are now called the Multiverse Saga. So
Multiverse Saga, yeah, exactly.
And then ending with Secret Wars, which everyone kind of speculated, but I'm like, it would totally work with. Well, it depends on which. So here's the thing: it depends on which Secret Wars we're talking about, because there was the original Secret Wars, which was a bunch of heroes were kidnapped and taken to a world to battle a bunch of villains. And that, it changed a bunch of teams and stuff like that. And then there was the more recent Secret Wars, which basically ended the Marvel multiverse, and Doctor Doom used the powers of the Molecule Man, and I'm not making these titles up,
No,
to basically create a confined thing which contained all the multiverses, and so there was a world, it was multiple worlds that were all contained within one world. It's really difficult to explain. You got to read it. But like one was past, the Civil War event, that was its own domain. There was one that was all Thors, and multiple Thors were like the policemen for this whole thing. It was crazy and insane. It was like all the best fan fiction ever done by people that could really write.
I feel like that's the story they're going to be.
Yeah, that's what I think we're heading towards. Yeah.
Well, because you have Fantastic Four, and who will be the main villain in Fantastic Four? It has to be Doctor Doom. There's no way it can't be.
It absolutely has to be.
And then Kang will also be the overriding bad guy for all of this as well, which also fits into what you were just saying. Kang also has his city with the different, times and all that stuff. Chronopolis, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
I can't remember sometimes.
Well, they'll probably shift it more to him, like the multiverse was destroyed and I've contained it and kept it alive as much as I can, and that'll be Secret Wars and stuff.
Well, that's what showed up in the Quantum Realm. That's the multiverse in that little bottle in the background.
Yeah, exactly. So
well, we'll definitely get more of that because obviously the Quantum Mania is going to be all about the multiverse because Kang is in it and Jonathan Majors was actually at the panel, so it's like he's there, man. It's all happening. It's all happening, man.
Well, see, I think Kang will turn out to be the one that'll be like, I've been trying to save us this whole time, because they keep building up in as we'll talk about in Thor: Love and Thunder. Now Zeus is like, I'm gonna f some mothers up, and they keep introducing like these villains here and there that are like, oh, is this going to be the villain for the arc? And I think it's going to be multiple villains that whatever conflict it all leads into will end up, destroying the multiverse. And Kang will be like, see, I've been trying to prevent this whole time, and now I'm going to try to save us the best as possible, or something like that. I think something along those lines. Obviously, there'll be more to it than that. But
so Kang versus Doom.
Yes, exactly.
The ultimate matchup. So, it'll certainly be interesting. And there's a lot of, for better or worse, there's a lot of material to draw from. But I can't imagine, because they do tend to sort of do some comic related stuff. So I imagine there's going to be, it'll definitely be related in some way, but it'll be MCU'd or whatever. And but yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a pretty good supposition. And of course, another thing that I thought was interesting, now they have another Captain America film, New World Order.
Yeah.
With Anthony Mackie, of course, as Captain America. I mean, I don't know. Anthony Mackie's fine, but he's no Chris Evans. I hate to say that, but
yes.
Anyway.
I'm very curious about. I'm interested in a lot of the things. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and
definitely.
the Guardians Holiday Special, which is coming out at Christmas. I can't wait for that.
It's a happy Christmas.
Blade sounds great. I'm really wondering though what they're planning to do with Thunderbolts, because if anybody knows the comic, it was a surprise, and I'm like, how? I don't know how they're going to do it or what they're going to do, but I trust them to do it well. I don't think it'll be exactly like the comics, but maybe it will. I don't know.
No.
So
yeah, I mean, but Thunderbolts is all the way in July of 2024, so they probably have time for that. But there's definitely Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania, then there's Secret Invasion, then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, then Loki, then Echo, then the Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, Coven of Chaos. That's the new Agatha Christie.
What If? There's 2 more seasons of What If. There's even stuff that has been announced previously they didn't even talk about, and I'm sure they'll talk about it.
I'm a little bummed.
But
I'm a little bummed they didn't. The Daredevil Born Again is not happening until spring of 2024.
I know
that's far, but yeah, Thunderbolts will be done. But you're right. I'm sure at D23 they will definitely talk about. They will talk about Fantastic Four, because I feel like that's going to be, because people forget sometimes, I think, that how important Fantastic Four is to the Marvel Comics universe, because basically the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, were like the anchor points for a lot of shit that happened in the Marvel Comics, and they figure prominently in a lot of things, and so it's got to be the fact that they're able to do this now. I think they're gonna because they don't really talk about it during Comic-Con, but it's like, it's going to be a big deal, and there's a lot of slots open, and of course things could be shifted around, but as we say a lot, it's a great time to be a nerd. That's all I can say.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot of things announced. There'll be a lot more next month at D23 announced, I'm sure. There's a lot of things announced previously that weren't even talked about. So yeah, it's like crazy the amount of just Marvel stuff that's going to be coming out over the next. I mean, they basically laid out the next like 3 years, and it's a lot of stuff. And I'm like,
I love the optimism that the world will still be here in 20.
well, yeah.
Sorry, that's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's just gonna be fun. And you know, there's no new Shang-Chi movie mentioned. There's no Daredevil Deadpool. I keep saying Daredevil when I mean Deadpool. No Deadpool mentioned. No X-Men really mentioned.
But all those things are being worked on. I mean, that's the thing.
All those things are being worked on. I think that if, however, they're going to finally debut the X-Men, I think they'll sprinkle references to mutants more and more in all of these films, and there'll be a post-credit sequence where somebody does whatever. It's like, I'm Wolverine, bitch. Oh, anyway.
Or you'll just see snicked.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's it. Yeah, it'll just be the claws. It'll just pop out right there.
Yeah. You'll just see this hand, and somebody's like talking to this person. You just see the hand, and it'll be like, so I know people, don't know about you, but are you ready to help us out? And then he just pops the claws, and then that's it. And the crowd goes wild.
I like that. Yeah. That's entirely possible. In fact, you might see that at D23. Who knows?
That's right.
But man, I was talking about Disney Plus watching Logan when it came out because I just wanted to watch it, and it's going to be really hard to beat Hugh Jackman because that guy was awesome.
No kidding.
As Wolverine, it's just, especially in that movie. I mean, it's such a great film in general. And he owns that role. It's going to be hard to beat that. But you know what? I say that, and then someone else will come along and be terrific. So
absolutely.
I'm keeping an open mind, but we'll definitely see X-Men soon.
They seem to do really well in their casting.
Yeah, definitely. And I can also see an opportunity for everybody to come back in the Secret Wars multiverse saga, final battle, Avengers Assemble, where you've got everybody coming back. Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, everyone can pop in because it's the multiverse, baby, right?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before that, if we're writing this and if Marvel, if you want your moment of hope like you had in Endgame with, on your left, that moment in Secret Wars is either at the end of the Kang Dynasty or the beginning of Secret Wars is, the original Avengers team showing up, Tony, and it's like, who's in the armor, and it flips up and it's Tony Stark. And that's how, Kang Dynasty ends. Right. I mean, that's how you do this. And that's the thing you've been building up and promising. Right.
Yeah.
So,
he'll drop out of the sky, do the landing. The thing will open. He goes, I am Iron Man. And that's how it'll end. Basically. Yeah, exactly. That's how Kang Dynasty will end because fucking Tony Stark will arrive.
Yes.
And Captain America, original Captain America, Chris Evans will come, and everybody will be there, and that's how they do it.
That's how everybody's lost hope. We've defeated, and the originals show up. Like we're
and then
we're not done yet.
They're there to hand the baton to the new team, basically. So yeah, that's got to happen like Act 3 of Kang Dynasty, probably.
Yeah, it's like we can't continue. We can't do this, and then you hear a voice. What do you mean? And it pivots around, and it's Captain America. He's like, I could do this all day.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Tony drops out of the sky.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
So I mean, Thor. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you got it. That kind of writes itself, and that's everybody.
Tony would be like, "Hey, it's America's ass," and he'll high five him.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's like, I could do this all damn day. Language.
Yeah. We know. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, Thor will show up and go, mightiest Avengers here. Yeah.
Yes, and
strongest Avenger.
Hulk shows up, and then Thor drops down. And he's like, "Where's Kevin Bacon? Let's get the band back together."
Kevin Bacon, exactly.
I don't know, but I mean, that's. I would be surprised if there's some variation of that.
I would be too. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll just be, suck it. And then, of course, you can't forget the new types of people. All the X-Men will show up, because there's going to have to be a giant team up.
Well, and Secret Wars could be, if they don't do it before then, is a total way to bring the X-Men in, because that could be one of the realms in Secret Wars. And when everything is put back, it's like, oh, now there's mutants, now there's X-Men. I don't know, but I think they'll introduce them.
But they already admitted those mutants. So
that's true.
With Miss
That's
Marvel and everything. So there's going to be, and again, there's a lot of slots open for movies, and there could be an X-Men movie in there somewhere in the next few years. And they're going to have to drop in more stuff along the way with mutants and everything. Because what are the Fantastic Four? I mean, are they going to do the origin of the Fantastic Four? It's just cosmic rays or whatever. They
said there's not going to be an origin story their movie. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, Feige said that. And here's the other thing: once they announce those two Avengers movies, I'm sure everybody that is currently under contract at Marvel is like, oh, so that's what two of our movies are going to be.
Yeah.
Because, or at least one of them, because it's going to be another like end game for Secret Wars.
Yeah, because now they have even more people back in the fold, because all the
Yeah.
X-Men and Daredevil and pretty much everything. Spider-Man. I mean, they still got to get Spider-Man back, but
Yeah, well, they've been talking about. Feige said he's discussing with Sony what the next Spider-Man films look like. So,
but they
didn't even announce that. They didn't announce the future of Spider-Man other than an animated show.
No.
So,
but will it be Tom Holland? I don't know.
Will we get? It'll be Tom Holland. He's not. Yeah. He's not
I also think
anywhere.
it's cool that with Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, they're introducing more of a horror element and sort of an undead element, because now that leads right into Blade. That makes sense. Because I was kind of curious, how are they going to get vampires into the MCU? But now
There we go. Yeah.
With Thor: Love and Thunder, it's like all the gods exist, all this exists, all this other shit, including the god that has just a head with shoes, which I thought was weird. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But it's just so anything's on the table now in a multiverse, in the realms versus the worlds or whatever, and it's cool. So now this gives them the opportunity to do basically whatever, and people will go see it, of course, and just enjoy it. So
Yes.
it's a good time to be a nerd.
And that's just the Marvel stuff. There's like
And Black Adam. I gotta be honest, Black Adam looks cool too, because I like The Rock, so I'll pretty much go see that. And even I don't love the Shazam film. It didn't do as much for me as it did for other people. But this looks, the Shazam
Looks
thing
good.
looks good. Yeah, they all look pretty good.
Well, they just announced, Momoa just announced that Ben Affleck is back as Bruce Wayne, possibly Batman and Aquaman 2. So
I don't know that was announced more as much as it was like accidentally announced, because I mean, you don't know what was an accident, but they were at the lot. Apparently, there was some studio tour. Got photos of both of them together. It's like, oh, by the way,
Yeah. Oh, hey, look who's back.
Look who's here.
Yeah.
Well, why not? You know what? DC's got to figure out what to do.
Which I think is funny, because all the people are like, oh, Affleck is he hates the role and he's never going to play it again, and they keep showing up. Same thing with now the rumor is Henry Cavill hates Superman and he's done with the role, which means probably in about a month they're going to announce a new Superman film with him, right? Because it's like, really, did you talk to him? You know this for a fact.
Yeah, you guys are pals, yeah.
Right.
You met on the Warhammer forums, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think there'll be at least one more time for Cavill and Momoa and Ben Affleck as their characters. I really think there will be. In fact, maybe Superman shows up in Aquaman.
Yeah. They kind of do a mini Justice League type.
Maybe, yeah, maybe,
something,
because they are doing reshoots on Aquaman. So I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't do that. Because I don't think Ben Affleck hates money, and I don't think he hates being Batman, and he looked happy in the picture. But it's kind of hard not to like Jason Momoa. So if he says, "Hey man, why don't you come over and be Batman?" He's like, "Shit, fuck it, why not?"
Yeah, he is kind of infectious that way. It seems like he could talk and he'd be like, no, man, I can't do it. I'm tired of this. Oh, come on, come hang out with me. Let's do this. Oh, okay.
I've got lots of Guinness,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you some pink shoes and a motorcycle. Okay, I'll be.
Hey, Henry, we're getting the band back together. Come hang out for a couple of days. Sure, why not?
Why not? I'm sure I feel like they probably all got along, and and like Affleck came back for a tiny bit of stuff for the Snyder Cut. I mean, I think that they could do that, or maybe do one more Justice League movie, because I'd watch that, and
I totally would.
But they've also got to figure out what to do with the Flash movie. They've also got to figure out how to go forward with that, and kind of. I'm not saying that DC has to be like Marvel and the MCU, but
No,
they really
no.
need to do something.
They
If
need
they're
to be
gonna
a
keep-
little bit more cohesive.
It
I
needs to
think.
be, it needs to be a little cohesive, a little more cohesive. And I don't think Zack Snyder's the answer for that. As much as nerds might think he is. There is an answer, but I don't know what it is. It's just being
There's
smart
a-
about it.
There's a whole room of people right now that are dedicated to figuring out what they're going to do
Maybe
about the Flash
maybe
movie.
let the people who do the TV stuff do a movie
Yeah.
just to see what happens. Although some of them apparently aren't great people either. So, but
I haven't heard anything lately about other than he's got people he's kidnapped, but Ezra Miller's staying out of the news lately, so maybe they'll still release the Flash movie. I don't know.
I kind of think they have to. I mean, there's so much money involved. It'd be hard
Yeah.
not to. I mean, maybe it goes to HBO Max. I don't know, but it's just. I feel like that would be a total loss. I mean, I'm sure that the bean counters will tell them. I hate to say bean counters, but I'm sure someone will say, "Here's your plus and loss, whatever.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do?" And it'll just be this
Well,
makes more sense to do this. And
it sounds like that movie sets up other things with other characters, and it sounds
It's
like
gonna-
it was geared to be a pivotal
It's gonna
movie.
come out.
So, do you recast him and reshoot those scenes?
no, of course not.
No. All right.
No, it's gonna come out.
Okay.
It's going to come out, and people have, people have a short memory.
That's true. As long as he stays out of the news between now and then.
Yeah. Well, when
know.
was it going to come out? It wasn't going to come out even this year, was it?
No, I think it's like July of 2023 is when.
Right.
It's
So a
coming out.
lot can happen between now and then. Hopefully,
Well,
hopefully he will get help that he needs. And
I mean,
we'll be
that's
in a
what it
better
comes
place.
down to for me is he obviously needs help, and I hope above anything, I hope he gets the help that he needs,
Yeah.
and gets his stuff worked out because
Yeah.
I don't see, unless he gets help, I don't see things going well for him, and that's sad because not only he's a good actor, he's also a human being, and
Yeah.
it's like obviously he's more publicly than anybody else is going through some serious stuff. So
Yeah.
I really hope he gets help, and I hope it has a positive outcome. And if it works out that he can continue as the Flash, that's great. But that's kind of the secondary part. It's, first and foremost.
Right. Yeah. We talk about this stuff because we're talking about the movies and stuff and nerdy things. But yeah, people's lives are more important than movies.
Yeah.
And people's mental and physical health are more important than movies. So there's a lot of things that can happen. And I'm sure that those people, maybe not around him necessarily, but some people, that care enough to try to help. And
Yeah.
maybe, so we don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, nobody does. But I will say that I think people will give him a break and give him the benefit of the doubt if he's if he's getting help and whatever. I mean, people like a second chances, so he will get another chance, and I don't want to say be redeemed, but things will be fine.
Well,
if it looks like it's going the right direction, it's not going to affect the movie, I guess is what I'm saying. So
Well, and I sort of asked, not, I was being kind of joking about it, it's like, do they release the movie? But also, I mean, as part of that, does, if he does reach out for help,
Yeah.
maybe it does releasing the movie make things worse, make it better, and who does it benefit? It may be like, he may be like, hey, I was going through a really horrible time and I don't want that scene. I don't know, but
I'm saying it probably doesn't benefit him. So
right.
it benefits the studio and it benefits, I mean, and it benefits the people who were employed to make the film and
Sure.
the people who were going to be employed to make the next movies. But there's a big difference between being a second, third, fourth, fifth build character in a franchise movie to being the lead of a franchise movie.
Yes.
And I got to think that maybe that had an effect on him because he's done a lot of indie stuff before he became the Flash. And it's not like he was a huge star. I hate to, I'm not trying to be a dick, but the pressure and the the realization and the effect that something like that has on people, it can't be necessarily calculated because people react to that kind of stuff differently. So this might be a result of that. So you're right. Maybe releasing the film or having him directly involved in promoting it or anything like that is a bad idea. I think that it'll come out. I don't know that he'll be doing press necessarily for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. But again, like you said, the most important thing is that he gets the help that he obviously
He
can
gets
use.
well, he gets better.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Because no one should, no one should suffer this much for their art. I guess is what
No,
I'm
and
saying.
really want to see the Flash film because I like him as Flash.
Yeah,
I love multiverse movies.
I thought he was really good. Yeah, I think I think he
And
was.
just all the stuff in this movie sounds great. The characters that are going to be in it sound awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But you know what? If it means that he gets well and gets better, I'd be fine too if it gets put away and never seen. And
But I'm just saying, Grant Gustin is right there. I'm just
I well, and there's rumors that this is the last.
the trouble-free Grant Gustin is right there.
And this is maybe the last season of The Flash, so he can transition to movies. Of course, now everybody's saying, oh, he hates playing The Flash. He can't wait, which is funny because he just signed a new contract.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if he hated it, he would have said, I think I'm done. 8 seasons is good. So this whole thing of, oh, so-and-so hates, it's like, did you have beers with him last weekend? They told you that because you don't know that. That's,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Grant and I are tight like that.
Grant's like, no, I'll play Flash forever.
I call him Granty. You mentioned Chris Hemsworth playing Thor forever. I think Chris Hemsworth just likes hanging with Taika Waititi, which
I think so too.
I will do. I can make this movie in Australia near my house, and go home every night in theory, and have a great time on set, and just have fun with my friends.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. But he might just enjoy playing Thor too, and he's great at it. So why wouldn't you?
We should jump into talking about Love and Thunder.
Yeah, are we done with Comic-Con? Because I feel like there's a lot more stuff, but I guess
There probably is, but
we were kind of concentrating on Marvel more.
yeah,
We can always. I'm sure we'll touch on this as things come along, more DC things, and we'll get more information about other stuff. But those are the big ones.
Yeah.
In our sort of world, I guess. And we already talked about Dungeons and Dragons a lot, so that's
yes,
fine. But yeah, I finally saw Thor: Love and Thunder. And I enjoyed it very much. I will say that my theater going companion had to go to the bathroom more than once, so I missed a couple of things. And also, I was like, I didn't realize that the movie's like, oh, they're kidnapped children. I was like, that's probably not a great thing to bring a kid to, but that's okay. It didn't seem to bother him. But yeah, I love the movie. I would say that if I was comparing it to Thor Ragnarok, I think I liked Thor Ragnarok just a little bit better. But that's not any fault of this movie. It's just I think that was just an exceptional film. And this has its great moments and everything, but it kind of felt, I don't know what the word is. It kind of felt more like slightly disjointed in some points. And I think that Taika Waititi would be the first one to say that they kind of were winging it a lot of the times.
right,
Which might come along. But I will also say that Christian Bale as Gore was terrific. He was really scary.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's a great villain. I feel like that's how Christian Bale is in real life, kind of. So,
just like Gore.
yeah. You were done professionally, and I will destroy all gods,
It's like, okay, we're on set. You can open the box and let Christian
Bale out. Yeah.
do his, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding about Christian Bale, but he can be very intense, I'm sure, and has been intense in the past, and on video, and also on audio recordings as well. But
Yes.
yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot, but after we watched the movie, in my conversation with my companion that we watched the movie with, I was like, "Who's your favorite character?" He loved Valkyrie, and so did I. Tessa Thompson,
Yeah.
I think, was my favorite character in the movie. Either her or the goats. Maybe the goats were pretty good too.
The goats were. I'll not lie. The goats were my favorite part of the movie.
I love the goats, man.
And a tribute to Waititi's comedic timing is the goat screams were perfectly placed.
Yeah, when they run into the moon, it's like,
and just
come on.
and then occasionally it's like I bet they forgot about the goats. Let's bring the goats back. So yeah.
There's also I also have to shout out to Stormbreaker, also a great character.
Yes. I appreciate Stormbreaker standing up for their feelings and for making sure that they were not mistreated and just cast aside.
Right. Yeah. That scene where he's like talking to to Mjolnir, and like Stormbreaker just like pops in the corner of the frame, just like floating there.
Yeah. Again,
I love that.
the
That's so
comedic
funny.
timing on this movie
Yeah.
was pretty great, even with inanimate objects.
No, that was just brilliant. It's like bringing that stuff in was hilarious. I'm like one of the few people laughing in the theater for some reason. I don't know why.
I was too, and you're right. Everyone's like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? It's right there."
It's a sentient axe. Come on.
Yes.
It's hilarious. But yeah, Tessa Thompson was terrific. I love her. She's awesome. And Natalie Portman I thought was fine too. I don't know.
I just like Natalie Portman was great in that she just like immediately got into being Thor, and the whole discussion where they're walking, she's like, "So I've been working on my slogan, and I was thinking, do this and that," and she is like, "Jeez,
taste my hammer" or whatever.
Yeah, she was like, it's kind of interesting seeing Natalie Portman that much into the role that she previously was like, "Yeah, I think I'm done with this."
Well, I'm sure that there was some convincing required.
But well, according to her, the script is what convinced her in the talks with Waititi, and he's like, "No, I don't want you to come back and be the damsel in distress, and I don't want you to come back and be the love interest. I want you to be Thor." And I'm sure she was like, "Well, that's an interesting turn. Sure, I'll do that."
Yeah, and a chance to work with him, I'm sure, was a big deal too.
Yeah,
and, I'm sure she enjoys working with Chris Hemsworth too. But the storyline was good, and there was some weird points that I didn't quite understand, and of course Korg is amazing, and Korg gets he's gonna have a baby. That's amazing too. Yeah. Yes,
that was. I mean, it was funny because it was very campy in places and over the top humor, but had some really emotional beats. Even like Korg, like you think he's gonna tell this funny story, but it ends up being this really poignant story, and he kind of bonds with Valkyrie a little bit. It was like, wow, that was unexpected. And
the whole point of this movie was to teach Thor how to be a dad, right?
Yeah, it was Thor growing up and learning to be a dad. Because spoilers, huge spoilers, he is basically a dad at the end. And
right. Yeah. If people haven't seen the movie by now, they probably
I still love, but he does it in the Thor way. He's like, okay, so what do you know about the people on the right? It's like those are the friendlies. What about the other ones? Okay, let's go. It was just like
I feel like she'll come back too. Because she's gonna be she'll be around because that's Chris Hemsworth's real daughter. But the fact that she's born from that I forgot the name of the being at the center of eternity.
Is it Eternity?
Okay, okay. I just saw the movie a few days ago and I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
But she's definitely got powers. But I just think it was really cute, and there was some really great stuff.
And I like that they didn't belittle the kids. Like even the first time he shows up, he's like, "Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but if you die, you'll go to Valhalla." And they're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
And then after that, he becomes more and more like encouraging. And then at the end, instead of like, "Okay, kids, run and hide," he's like, "Screw that." I'm going to give them the power of Thor. Get your weapons. Let's kick some ass.
For a limited time only.
Yeah, I loved it. And that was like an amazing scene.
Yeah, the little girl with her teddy bear was pretty cool.
With the little bunny.
Yeah. It was a bunny. Yeah, that's right. It was great.
So the fact that he's not like, "Oh, kids, run and hide," or "I'll get you out of here." He's like, "Nope, you're going to help me out." And they're like, "But how?" It's like, "I'll show you." It was great.
You're all Asgardians. It's like, I'm not an Asgardian. You are today.
Yeah. So I thought the way they treated kids in that was exceptionally well. And it was just, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I ended up seeing it twice because of getting family members to and from it and stuff. And I liked it even better the second time.
It's a love story. It's a You're right. Thor grows up and he becomes, at the beginning, right? He's trying to figure out who he's supposed to be. And he's like, I'm going to go, fight or whatever. I'm the guy they call when they need something. But that's not really him. He's actually more of a nurturing father than his father would ever be. And he finds his real purpose in life, which is to, be this, to take care of this child.
Yes.
And he grows as a person and has real change. I think that's interesting. It's an interesting arc over all the movies for Thor. It's really well done in that part of it for sure.
And he's still kind of a kid, so it kind of makes him ideal for being a parent to that one, especially when she draws on Mjolnir. He's like, "Well, it looks great." He's not like, oh no, it can't be late. It's like, oh, okay, we'll leave that. It's it was just, I don't know, it was really, really good, and I think it was a satisfying arc for Thor, and I like that Hemsworth is like, I'll keep coming back as Thor as long as we do something different with him every time, and they have.
Yeah.
And even him leaving the Guardians was well done, and yes, it was comical, but it was like, I guess you either do a Thor movie where they're heavily involved, or you find a way to have them part ways at the beginning so they can go do their movie. And
well, yeah, they had to. They had. It's about Thor, and it's about. And for a minute, I was not sure. I will say I was not sure if Jane was going to join him, but then I was like, no, of course she will.
Yeah.
And of course she did, but for a minute I was like, oh, he'll do it on his own. But then he realized that he needs other people, and he did it for it's all about love, right? Love is an important thing, and I don't think it's the last we've seen of Jane necessarily, or apparently Heimdall either. But
no, that was kind of nice. It was like, sweet.
Yeah, and there was I like Guns N' Roses as much as the next guy, but they might have used those cues a little bit too much. But
I thought using the I don't know. I thought that was well done.
No, I liked it, but the kid's like, you want to call me Axel? I was like, yeah, right on, man.
Yeah. The only, of course, getting what I want, getting something awesome. Always want more. The nice fitting thing at the end when Jane goes to Valhalla and Heimdall meets her. If in the background you just kept hearing this like hammering noise. With like steel and metal, and Heimdall keeps trying to talk and interrupts him, and then he just kind of turns as like, Stark, knock it off, and that's it. You don't even have to see him, because I'm like, of all people, Tony should have made it to Valhalla. I mean, come on. I know he's not Asgardian, but still.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, maybe. Yeah. You just hear some guy anviling in the background.
Yeah, and then it's like, Stark, knock it off.
Tony Stank?
Yeah. But maybe maybe that'd be just a little too far. But
it's too much. The idea that you saw Heimdall and you saw
that was cool. So they could come back.
They could. Well, I mean, if they're making the case that all these realms and whatever are sort of similar, then then absolutely they could come back. So I think it'll be interesting to see what they do in Black Panther if they find a way to bring back Killmonger, and then the door's open to people. But again, Jane Foster, in all of her variants, is alive on all the other Earths. And,
that's right.
So
is Heimdall.
So is Heimdall, yeah. I mean, maybe not. Maybe Ragnarok has an effect on all the realms. I don't know. But he was killed by Thanos, right? So it's possible
True.
that...
well, so is Loki. But I like Korg's, basically his previous on the Thor movies. And he's like, and he lost his mother and his father and his brother and his brother again. And his brother again.
Well, that's right. So I mean,
yes,
anything is possible.
And they even brought back the Asgardian actors that played. That was pretty great.
Yeah, Lady Sif was back,
and Sif was back. Yeah, maybe her arm is in Valhalla. But
yeah, her arm. She's like, you have to die in battle. She's like, shit. So fine, let's go. No, it's good. It's good to see Jamie Alexander again. Why not?
Yeah.
And she's teaching Axel directly, and of course now they're teaching all the kids to fight instead of be victims, which I think is good.
And I think Val had a pretty good arc, I think, in it too, trying to learn how to be a better king, and
right.
That Jane had everybody had. I felt like even Korg and Meek gets to be the king's assistant. So
Meek.
Yeah.
Meek, you're still alive. Oh. And Korg, of course, his boyfriend has the mustache. Yes. Pretty good touch too.
Yeah,
it's like our flag is death all over again, basically.
Exactly. So,
which is fine, but it was adorable. Really, we hold hands over the lava for a month, and then
then they fall off, and a new one. Yeah, it's like that's actually kind of a sweet story.
It is, and of course it'll happen.
Yeah.
And then he learns to be a dad, and Thor learns to be a dad.
Yeah.
And
I just thought it was a very satisfying and fun movie with some good emotional beats, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will absolutely be watching it more.
I do need to watch it again to see some of the. I missed a couple of things. I missed some of the stuff in the Shadow Realm when they first go there to find Gore, and I missed something else. I don't know. There was, the when the shadow creatures come to Valhalla the first time.
Oh wow, yeah, you got it.
I mean, I saw that part, but I didn't see all of it, and so.
Yeah.
And then not then, but it was like when Jane finally when she gets called by Mjolnir and becomes Thor. I missed that part, I think.
Oh yes,
but she explains it kindly. So the piece is just called to me, and I
that you actually don't see any more of that than what she says. You just see that.
Well, I think according to sources, they shot a bunch of other things where she actually transforms, and they cut that out because they don't need that. And that's when they were asking Taika about a director's cut of. He's like, I don't really think I don't like director's cuts. Stuff gets cut out.
I'm sure there'll be deleted scenes, but
yeah, well, that'll show up. Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen the photos. It's like her suspended on a harness in the air, doing like whatever.
Yeah.
Like two guys in green suits holding her in the air. So
yeah.
Anyway, it was really good, and I would definitely watch it again when it comes on Disney Plus, which I'm sure it will anytime.
Absolutely.
Now, so.
And I'm looking forward to more Thor movies.
Well, it does say Thor will return.
That's right. Although Waititi says he was surprised by that when he saw it, but
sure he was.
Yeah, it's like, no, you weren't. But okay, that's sweet of you to say.
Maybe there won't be any more Thor films, but I'm sure Thor, the character, will return at some point. Maybe it won't be Hemsworth, but I mean, Thor exists in the multiverse, right? So
yeah, exactly.
There will definitely be a Thor. Whether it's Jane Foster will take over as Thor from now on.
There we go. That could be it. They totally need to do a series. I'd prefer a series or another movie with focused on Valkyrie though, because Tessa Thompson's awesome and she was great as Val. So
she is great. And speaking of Tessa Thompson, I'm really enjoying this season of Westworld. Actually, way more than I thought I was going to.
We need to talk about that soon too, because this season has been amazing. Yeah,
it's really they've really kind of almost reinvented the show, or I feel like they've kind of just come up with such interesting stuff. I mean, granted, some of it's, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but it is kind of like, The Matrix a little bit.
Well, and they have played with time when things take place and stuff like they always do, but I feel like it really works this season, and it's all building to something. And
it's really good. I'm enjoying it a lot.
I just like that. Well, we've achieved our goals, and it's not quite what we thought it would be.
It's funny.
And that was kind of a surprise too. Like, whoa, okay, we're going to go there now. Okay,
but she's great in that show, and she's great as Valkyrie. I just love the fact that when I first saw her was on Veronica Mars all those years ago, and she was like a guest star on that show.
I'm trying to remember when I first saw her. I know it was before Thor, and I know it was
really
before
blown up.
Westworld, but yeah. Glad to see her doing well because she's a fantastic actor and she seems like a decent person too. So
exactly, and very attractive as well, which is nice. Not that that's the most important thing, but
no, but that doesn't hurt.
So there you go. Thor: Love and Thunder. It's definitely worth watching, and I would say see it in the theater if you can. Even though if you feel safe, if you feel like it's safe.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not going to tell you to go to the theater if you don't feel good about it. But yeah, it's a great movie. I really enjoyed it, and now I'm kind of bummed that I didn't see Doctor Strange in the theater. But I wasn't comfortable then.
Yeah, me too. But yeah.
And when we saw this, it was me and my little friend, and then I'm not trying to be weird. It was my son. Okay, I don't want to be weird about it. And like 3 other people maybe in the entire theater. So I felt like that was okay. We still had our masks, but it's like unless we were eating popcorn, because the popcorn was actually really good. I haven't had movie theater popcorn in a long time. I was like, man, this is pretty good.
I know. Yeah, that was.
I forgot how good it was.
Yeah.
And he had his milk. It was very adorable. Anyway, so yeah, I would definitely recommend seeing it. So do you want to touch on For All Mankind real quick, and then go to picks?
Yeah, we can touch on it real quick. Maybe this will be a long episode, but that's all right.
They're always long, dude.
I know. Yeah, I know. But
sorry, folks, we just ramble. We'll try to find a way to streamline it a little bit, but I'm not sure. These are all gems and gold. You can't get rid of gold. Gold's important.
It feels like on this For All Mankind that the subplots that I'm annoyed by all kind of collided together.
They did. Although I did enjoy the idea that those 2 guys had to work together to plant the explosives, and that one guy was obviously very good at his job to sort of make sure they measured properly. But you're watching that scene, and this is spoilers for All Mankind. You're watching the scene with Ed and Danny in the thing, and I'm like, when is the bomb going to go off? Because Danny's not going to be able to say what he wants to say. It's
Right.
going to stop it from saying it because the
Well,
bomb's
that was
gonna
the
go
thing. He's like, I have one more thing to tell you. Then boom. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly, yeah.
really? I did like, though.
Well, you knew that was coming. Come on.
I did like that they pivoted Danny to all of his weirdness and everything isn't totally driven by Karen, though. It's like
No.
more deep seated than that. So I'm glad that they pivoted to that, but he still ended up killing 2 people.
He did. Well, that helped to explain it. And that
Or
helped
3
to-
people, actually. So
at least. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
That definitely helped to explain his character and why he does what he does.
Yes.
So I'm sure there needed to be. I mean, that's what they were building to, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was okay, and whatever. And maybe Ed learned a valuable lesson. It seems like he did now. I'm not sure that what happened to the other guy had to happen necessarily, except for dramatic effect. It's like I sometimes feel like they're like going, "Oh, we need to. What's the most dramatic, emotional thing we can do?"
Right.
But then I also think, well, space is dangerous, so it's like,
Yeah.
shit happens. But anyway, it's not for budget reasons. So too many people have speaking roles in these episodes. We got to cut.
We have more special effects in the last half of the season.
Yeah, we got to get rid of some speaking parts.
Yeah,
the actors are too expensive.
exactly.
It's labor that's the problem, not the.
And Jimmy's whole thing with, you just came here to tell us lies and stuff.
Oh,
like,
Jimmy.
Like, dude. So
Jimmy,
I'm
just
hoping
shave your
that
head, bro.
kind of. Yeah, I'm hoping that kind of. Yeah, can you take that wig off because it's really terrible.
You look terrible. Yeah.
And I have no idea where they're going with that whole subplot.
I feel like Jimmy's just gonna strap explosives to himself or something because I hate the space program. I actually think the whole reason for his character was so they can him and Karen can sit at the pool for that scene. That was the whole thing, and have that.
Maybe so.
I hate NASA as much as you do kind of speech. So maybe
Right.
Jimmy will start working for her at for Dev or something.
Yeah. That'll be her thing. She'll like, I hate the system and you do too, but you want to come help me make it better and make it more transparent. And he'll be like, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Then he'll have to tell his friends, I'm not a rebel after all.
I believe in stuff and you guys need to go away.
I believe in stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
I just...
They do such a good job in so many ways, but the casting of all of those people was terrible.
It was.
None of the friends are any good. They all look like they have like weird wigs and facial hair glued on improperly.
Right.
And that whole, I feel like, let's have the C team do all of this stuff because we're too busy with this other thing. I did like the Dev part, though. I thought that was interesting. He came up with an idea, which was to, totally change the system. Basically, it's like do something crazy. It's just so crazy it might work because he's such an upstart and a radical. I kind of feel like he's been wasted on the show too a little bit.
Well, I think we got a little bit more understanding of his character too.
We do, and you cast somebody like that for that scene, basically, because he delivered in that scene, and he's basically kind of been a dick most of the time, and kind of one dimensional. But you get more dimensionality with him. To have that scene with her, it was worth it. But I don't know. Like you said, the third season is just tougher. So whether it will redeem itself, I don't know. But it doesn't really have to. I'm still enjoying it. So.
And I was sort of hoping, but I understand it was a little bit more of a dramatic and heavy scene than would warrant this. But I was kind of expecting when Ed woke up that Daniela would be like, "Hi, Bob."
I was expecting that too. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't do that.
I know that seemed like a little bit of a missed opportunity because they did it. Yeah. They played it earlier in this season.
Yeah,
and it's like, just seems like that would be the thing that that's
she would say to tell him that everything's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of their call of, "You okay?" Yeah, I'm okay. Are you? Yeah, I'm okay.
Although everything isn't okay.
Well, that's true. So
they're still, quote, technically, spoilers, trapped on Mars. So
yeah, that's true, and they don't have any way up to their ship. But
what she said was that's a downstream problem. We'll worry about that later.
I know. So. I like Danielle taking charge and being like, "Nope, let's do this one bit at a time, and let's get this done."
Right, and good for her for having good ideas and being able to do that because she's a good boss.
Yeah,
and I noticed that the Russian guy is like, okay. I'll just do what you say because I'm what you're doing. So
he was the guy being the dick early, going, "You don't tell my people what to do."
But now he's fine with it because she's right.
Although I have to say, the little thing they dropped at the very end of the episode, I'm like, "Come on, really?"
Yeah, that was dumb.
And the whole menacing thing of we tell Russia and then her commander and then you decide what we're going to do about this, or we come up with a plan.
Evil jeopardize whole mission.
I mean, I was expecting him after that to go, ha, 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 ha.
Is he going to twirl his mustache after that? Or what?
Because I was just like, really? I mean, that's so cliche. Really? You're going to do that? Okay.
It is cliche and disappointing. It's also a little bit cliche that the president's like, we're going to need the room. You're going to fuck off now. So I'm like, of course she's going to be mad at him. And Anyway, I feel like there's a really good show in here, and if they just stuck to the space stuff, I think I would enjoy it more.
Yes, agreed.
I love the show, and I love the fact that they go to they do the space thing, but the sort of at home melodrama doesn't do it. For me, so.
The interpersonal soap opera stuff was always there, but not as prominent as it is this year.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's kind of almost like, well, we don't have enough story with the space stuff, so let's really ramp up this other bit. I'm glad it's been renewed. That was the other thing too. It got renewed at Comic-Con for another season, and I'm interested to see that because again they're going to skip ahead 10 years into the double aughts, so it'll be interesting to see where things are at that point, and I'm excited for that. I'm just hoping that they, maybe I'm still chalking this up to, like every show, the third season slump. So,
but now you know why Ed is still alive, because like Danny said, you've been shooting steroids in your ass for So there you go.
Yep. There we go.
Now we know why Ed's a robot. He's gonna be like RoboCop. Oh wait, never mind.
See, now they got to make a RoboCop reference. He's got to watch it at some point or something.
He's got to watch it at some point, or like become a
a robot.
Well, it's the 80s, right? So the RoboCop could come out.
No, it's in the 90s now.
Oh, that's you're right. Okay, we already missed RoboCop.
So RoboCop already came out. So
thinking over creep. Maybe it just says thinking over creep. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. That's what it says.
No, what they need to do is have him make a comment next season of, people are talking about movies and talking about remakes, and he's like, and he says, "Did you see they remade RoboCop? Man, that guy they hired for it is really terrible."
That really sucks.
And that would be it. I think that would be funny.
But you know what? If they did that, you would be like, "That's stupid."
Well, yeah, and everyone would be like, "What? That's dumb."
That's dumb. That got shot down already. Kinnaman's like, fuck that.
Or he's like, yeah, did you see that? RoboCop was good, but the remake, man, the guy they have playing the new RoboCop is just fantastic.
Or Peter Weller just has to be on the show.
Yes, there we go.
He and Ed could have a scene together.
Yes. He gets to play Ed's brother or something, or long lost brother or something.
Long lost uncle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is a soap opera, so why not? So.
It is kind of a space opera, yeah. Like, I don't remember, I guess if I think about Battlestar Galactica, I kind of feel like it did get more melodramatic in the third season too. So maybe it's just Ron Moore likes melodrama. Maybe he really wants to be a soap opera writer. So
yeah, and then they'll be like, so you got your season of melodrama, let's get back to...
I'm not trying to knock the show, and I don't want people
to
be turned
it's
off
still enjoyable, and I still like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's still... I'm still on board and excited for the rest of the season and next season, and I hope it continues.
It's still a good show, and I'm still obviously interested in seeing how it ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. So, all right, do you have a pick this week?
I do have a pick.
Let's hear it.
So,
tell me what it is.
Will
you share?
I think, as I've talked about previously, I'm a fan of Record Store Day.
Yes.
And so, in light of and in tribute to the recent surprise performance by Joni Mitchell at a festival in Rhode Island, which was, if you're a fan of Joni Mitchell, definitely check out the videos that are on the internet. And she still got it, even though her voice isn't the same. And she's got...
Well, how could it be? She's getting up there, so...
Well, and she had, back in 2015, she had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And she survived that, and she's had to learn to walk and speak and all that again. She's still an amazing presence. So this year at Record Store Day, they had a Joni Mitchell record. And yes, I'm calling them records. It's called Blue Highlights, and it's demos, outtakes, and live tracks from the era of her album Blue, which is probably her best known album, although she's done a lot of great stuff. But it's just a really good record. It's got a lot of the stuff, A Case of You, California, and some other tracks that are great. My Old Man, So she does. It has some demos on there, some sessions in the studio, and then some live tracks with James Taylor of all people, which
Yeah.
is just amazing. So it's a really fantastic record. It's on 180 gram vinyl for anyone that cares about those kind of things. But
I do.
it's if you didn't catch it at Record Store Day, I'm sure some record stores probably still have it, or you can find it on the internets. But she actually supervised the whole thing, so it's done to her liking, and it's a great record, and it's awesome on vinyl and to listen to on a record player. So Joni Mitchell, Blue Highlights, check it out.
My pick this week is a TV show that I've grown to love. I'm surprised at myself a little bit. Not surprised, I guess, but it's a delightful distraction from the everyday woes of your life. It's called The Great British Baking Show. So they're like regular people from all over Great Britain who come on and do a contest for baking. It's like then 1 week is cake week, 1 week is biscuit week, 1 week is this, and 1 week is that. And they have these baking contests. It's just an amazing, fun show, and everyone's so happy to be there. The cast, or the cast, I say, the talent, the contestants.
Bakers.
That's the word I'm thinking of. They really bond, and you kind of really get into it because you care about the people. It's a really effective show in that respect, and it's just a fun thing to watch. I really enjoy it a lot, and it's inspirationally, for baking as well. It's also going to put on a few pounds. I'm sure it's going to help me get fatter, but that's okay. I enjoy that. It's not like instructional. You don't like learn step by step how to make cookies and whatever. It's just it's just fun. And then you watch it and you're saying, oh, what's Paul? Paul is one of the judges. Like, what's Paul going to think about that? Oh, he gave him a handshake. Oh my God, it's amazing. So anyway. Paul Hollywood, you got to love.
It's
that
more of
guy's
a
name,
polite contest baking.
very
show,
polite, and the other thing I think is really great about it is like they have to eliminate somebody every week because one person is the star baker and one person
Right.
gets sent home. Even the person that gets sent home, like Paul and Prue, the two judges, they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." They hug him and they say, "It's really great
Right.
to have you on the show." They're like, everyone's super cool about it. I mean, Paul can be kind of persnickety, but that's his shtick.
Right.
But I don't think you get to be on the show if you aren't already really good.
Right. Yeah.
As a contestant.
Exactly.
So you have to be really good. I'm sure you have to try. I don't know what the process is, but anyway, it's an amazing show. It's such a positive, uplifting kind of thing. It's like a bunch of people in a tent baking, and even when you mess up baking, the stuff is still tastes pretty good.
Right.
But and there's some like funny weird jokes, and there's like, I don't know. It's very British, but it's really enjoyable. It's on Netflix. Most of the stuff is on Netflix. But that's my pick, The Great British Baking Show.
Nice.
Find the Flickcast at all the places you find podcasts. Find Joe and I on the socials, What Joe Writes. I am Chris Yu. And then at Instagram, I am Ulrich Pix. And then, of course, the Flickcast at the Flickcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us everywhere.
Yes.
And then you can support the show on Patreon. That would be awesome. And you can give comments to Joe and I like some people do. And just tell us what you like and don't like, and rate and review the show, or just rate the show would be great on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify.
Let us
That's
know
fine.
what you think.
Let us know what you think, and we'll keep doing this and having fun and talking a lot, and just keep on going and going and going, and it'll never ever stop.
I mean, if there's too much melodrama, we want to know.
That's right. As
We
long as no
will
one's-
change that.
Well, I was going to say as long as no one's pregnant, but that's
I'm not. I don't think.
I don't think I am either. Although I don't know, I've eaten a lot of cookies, so it's like anyway. Anyway, anything else, Joe?
I think that's probably it.
All right, then. For Joe Dilworth, I am Chris Ulrich. That was the Flickcast. Thanks so much for listening.